What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. And we're back with another incredible guest. This guest is an intuitive momentum coach. She specializes in fitness and spirituality, physical and metaphysical traction. Please welcome Caren Carnegie. Caren, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Deanna.
You're all about you talk about you do what I love. I'm all about like that physical, spiritual, mental, all that, like all those things connecting. I know that your story, like your trajectory has been a little bit different and what put you on the path to where you are today. Can you share with us a little bit about that background?
For sure. So, in hindsight, when I look back now, it started much longer than what I was aware of. But in 2019, leading up to 2019, I was a habitual daily drinker, very reliant on alcohol, and had young kids at the time as well. And then in 2019, I did injure myself as a result of drinking.
Oh,
And around that same time, too, my body was crying out for help. My mental health was suffering, and I was just feeling like I was just that my world was just crumbling around me.
yeah.
And I wasn't attuned to spirituality at that time. Fitness wasn't a thing ever in my life
Oh,
leading up
wow.
to this point. But I knew that at one point my path was going to go this way or it could go this way. So something needed to happen. And the changes that started happening were really small, really incremental. But I was kind of inclined and nudged to maybe look into getting a personal trainer because joining boot camps or classes or just going to the gym on my own was not an option for me.
Yeah.
My walls went up. I was scared. I didn't, and looking at what I saw and what I still see portrayed out there when it comes to fitness, it didn't feel welcoming to
Yeah.
me. And I didn't know where to start. And it was confusing. And it still is. So I was inclined to hire a personal trainer for one-on-one training, and that worked really well. And then the pandemic happened and the gyms here in Canada, they were closed, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that they were where you were as well. So everything just came to a crashing halt. So I just started getting this little spark of fire in my belly to be
Mm.
like, okay, like, something can be, like like I'm doing something good for myself.
Yes.
I'm shining the spotlight on myself. And then it just came crashing down. So I did what I could on my own at home with the knowledge that I had in that time with
Yeah.
my personal trainer. We would do a little bit of virtual training too. I didn't let that derail me. I did what I could. I
Sure.
met myself where I was at that time, my body, my mental health, my space. I met myself where I was to continue rather than trying to bite off more than I could chew. So I
Sure.
just did what I could, kept moving my body, just kept that flame going until we could get back into the gym and carry on with that. So then it was in 2022 where I was still drinking at that time. That hadn't stopped yet. So I had
Oh,
started
wow.
personal training. So again, these changes weren't drastic. They weren't extreme. They were small. Then in 2022, I kind of, spirituality started catching my attention, which I found very surprising because that was not in my awareness whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was very much, feet firmly planted on the ground. Life happened to me. And so it started coming up in like little nudges to read certain things or to educate myself in certain areas. And then just like what happened with fitness, where I was then kind of where I just started learning and discovering so much more on my own, I did that with spirituality too. And then I ended up taking a, I'm becoming certified. It was spiritual life coaching, and
Okay.
it wasn't to service anyone else at that time. It was not. It was to give me a flashlight for my own journey to figure out what was going on with me and how I could help myself. It had nothing to do with servicing others at
Mm.
that time. So then things started progressing, and then I started looking at my fitness and relaying it to other aspects of my life as well and using like fitness like metaphors in fitness in areas of my life where things felt really challenging and too much
Sure.
to handle, certain exercises can be like that too. Well,
Oh
how
yeah.
do we approach certain exercises when they're hard? Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So then how do we approach these things in our life? So then I started looking at it differently. And then fitness and strength training in particular became an opportunity for me to just be present in my body. So it was like it was a meditation almost. So I just everything that I just took away all that energy that was up here that was just putting me into boxes or limiting what I was capable of.
Yeah.
I let that drop down and just inhabit my body. And I was
Mm.
so proud of what my body was doing because not long before, my body was really, I thought, letting me down.
Yeah.
When all it was doing, Deanna, was it was just trying to talk to me. It
Absolutely.
was just trying to talk to me. If I would have listened, maybe sooner, but things just happen when they're supposed to. I could have, things may have gone a little bit differently, but things happen the way they should. So once I started listening to my body, I started loving my body more, respecting my body more, and appreciating everything it was doing for me.
Yeah.
So once I discovered the messages that the body was sending me, I started realizing other areas of my life where there was roadblocks being put up,
Sure.
preventing me from kind of, going along my journey. And this took a quite some time because I was learning this on my own. And the reason I was learning this on my own is for this moment right here to
Yeah.
be what I'm doing today to help other people. I didn't have that one person in my corner who
Yeah.
understood all these things. I had different people that came into my life, which I'm so thankful for, and they're all still in my life. But it wasn't one person that understood. It was many, many people and things I needed to learn and stuff on my own. And if it wasn't for the time it took, and beautiful things take patience. And if it wasn't
Yeah.
for that, I would have missed all these lessons along the way. So we're so quick to get to our
Mm.
destination when there's so much beauty and so much stuff to learn. I wouldn't have it any other way. But
Yeah.
people, we're used to getting things like this.
Oh
We
yeah.
want things so quickly. But please just stop. No one's in any rush to go anywhere. I really certainly hope that you're not.
Yeah.
So take the time and really, really learn along the way because there's so much beauty in it. And, just people will take drastic measures just to avoid the hard stuff.
Oh
The
yeah.
hard stuff is what counts, and
Absolutely.
you know this,
Yeah.
right? So that is my journey. And I, because I'm spiritually attuned, I know and I understand here that I'm not the only one in this circumstance. There are a lot of people out there who are don't know where to start when it comes to fitness. Their idea of fitness when they picture it is something that's not even them.
Yeah.
Maybe they think of a gym, maybe they think of a fitfluencer. And what, is really heartbreaking is that they think of fitness, they think of a body that isn't even theirs.
Mm.
We all have the right for fitness. And
Oh
I've
yeah.
right off the hop, I ask people, what is your idea of fitness? And I've made my own definition, which is
Right.
why I hyphenated. And to me, fitness is feeling sound and happy within your own body, the way it is,
Yeah.
and feeling sound and happy in your environment as well.
Yeah. I would agree with
We
that.
can have both. We can have it all without going to extremes. And then that becomes really sustainable because I don't want anyone's fitness to be a short season.
Mm.
I want people to feel sound and happy in their bodies and their environment for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So they can set out and do these things that they're meant to do in this lifetime, which is why we're all here. We all have a purpose here, that they can do so coming from that state of wellness.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Being a lifestyle. I consider it like a lifestyle. I'm very big into my lifestyle. And so just taking care of myself and being fit, being active, body emotion stays in motion. But I also like that you bring in the spirituality piece, and
Mhm.
I think that's very important too. Do you think that it's important for most people to kind of marry the two together and to kind of have that balance within their physical body, but also their spiritual energy?
It's critical, in my opinion. And what people initially call me for is because their body is talking to them. So
Mm,
they're noticing something physically. So their
yeah.
personality might say, there's a little nudge there somewhere. And then, it's integrating the two becomes really critical because I wrote down actually I got a download this morning and I wrote it down and I just want to read it here. And what it is, it says, and I started writing it down as I was receiving it. I was writing it down on paper. So imagine driving along in your car, you're
Mhm.
going forward, seemingly okay. And maybe even in your desire, what you think to be your desired direction.
Sure.
But inside, you have this instinct desire or knowing that you're supposed to turn off somewhere, but you keep moving. That you keep missing that turn, sorry, because someone or something is in your blind spot and you can't
Yeah.
see. And it's not their fault, but it's preventing you from seeing where you're supposed to turn.
Yeah.
So you keep going forward. Your car runs out of gas or begins to make some noise. Your car is your body.
Mm,
So what is that thing in your blind spot?
yeah.
What was that thing? Once you service your car and get that dealt with, let's try this again. So this is where the momentum piece comes in. So we need to understand that every car's needs are different.
Oh, yeah.
We'll discover what your car would benefit from.
Hmm.
And it's dependent on how you use your car, how you like to use your car. So how you use your body and how you like to use your body.
Yeah.
Just because someone's doing, changing tires doesn't mean that that's right for your car because maybe your car needs
Right.
some oil,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Depending on how you're using it.
All our
So
maintenance is different at different times.
exactly. So we don't always receive our next steps
Mm,
or your actual destination right away. It's just these little steps first. So servicing your car, so paying attention to your body.
yeah.
Okay, so to figure out what your body needs, maybe gaining that bit of strength, maybe it's looking at nutrition, things, whatever it is, the body sends really good messages and everyone's is different.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
For
what I
sure.
help intuitively guide people on as well. So not doing it for them, but kind of pointing them in the right direction, giving them that flashlight.
Yeah.
So servicing the car and then finding out, okay, what's in this blind spot here that we're missing? Is it an emotion that's running in the
Mm,
background maybe that wasn't dealt with? Was it a
mm,
past experience?
yeah.
Was it a relationship that you needed to close the chapter on? I've experienced so many different things with members, and they're totally unrelated to the fitness part itself.
Yeah.
It's just their bodies became strong enough to look at these things in their blind spots. So then they know exactly what was in their way. They can make that turn that they felt desire to do
Yeah.
and go about their journey, with more momentum and more clarity. So that's how I bridge the two
Sure.
together.
I love
So it's
that.
looking at all the different puzzle pieces. And I don't do anything for anybody. I just kind of shine a light and give some guidance on certain ways or in certain areas. And then they know exactly what to do to run with it and,
Yeah.
and kind of carry on from that. So
I love
the
that.
fitness, the exercise part of it it's kind of a small
Right.
piece
Very
compared to
easy.
the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are disconnected from their bodies, and so you allow them to really reconnect and understand what those alarms are that's going off or what their body is trying to tell them. I know that. So my sisters, my mom, I'm very in tune. Like I like when an alarm goes off, I'm like, whoa, what's that? And I'm like, I'm very in tune with my body, and so I know that's not the case for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
I love that you say that the spirituality piece helps them be more intuitive and to understand what their body is telling them, because to me, I'm thinking like, okay, well, I'm so in tune, everybody else has to be. And when I have these conversations with other people, like in my family, they are not. And it just kind of is wild that we somehow have lost in our journey, we've lost that connection with ourselves, with our
Yeah.
bodies, that we have to kind of relearn, where the
Mhm.
spirituality piece comes in, relearn how to reconnect so that we can understand what those alarms are telling us.
This body is a reflection of our spirit, is a reflection of who we are, but
Yeah.
we're constantly pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, or we're speaking negatively about it to ourselves. We're thinking it's stupid. We don't trust
Yeah.
it,
Mm,
scared of it. And many people don't even, when we first start, they don't even want to look at themselves in the mirror. And why would they?
Yeah.
They've been bullying
Mm.
themselves for so long.
Yeah.
Why would they want to? So the minute they start to trust their body again, love their body, connect to their body through movement and just seeing what it's capable of doing, that just changes everything.
Oh
And,
yeah, for sure.
it's so, our bodies are very, very smart. We
Oh yeah.
need to stop telling them that they're dumb.
Yes,
They are very smart.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you have a success story of someone you've worked with? Like maybe what was like when you started working with them to like a little bit of the process, obviously not revealing too much, but a little bit of the process to
Mhm.
where they are today after going through working with you as a coach?
Mhm. We've had a 100% success story, and all for very unique reasons. And I've had somebody who came to see me because they felt like they lost, they got out of sync with their exercising and
Okay,
movement. Their body was having chronic inflammation of the joints, kind of your, not unexpected kind of
sure.
scenario. So we went along, and I have, after, asking really important questions and really listening to the
Sure.
answers, we made a really nice, workout program for this person, and they set off to do those things. But we also looked at areas of their life that, and what do joints do for us? Joints in our
Yeah.
body help us to move with ease, because if we didn't have joints, we'd be stick people and we would not be moving with ease at
Yeah.
all. So we talked about maybe moving through life with ease around
Okay.
certain aspects of her life. It was creating a fair bit of anxiety. She
Mm.
was playing out scenarios in her mind that just hadn't even happened yet and may not even happen. But when that would happen, when those scenarios were being played out, she'd become inflamed.
Oh
So,
wow. Okay.
here she is. Well, it's diet or this or it's genetic or all these other things. We're trying to seek answers, but maybe the answer is, what if you approach certain areas of your life with ease, like you do with these exercises that we're doing?
Yeah.
What if, we did that? So giving some solutions there, and then all of a sudden that became reduced. And then somebody else who a totally
So
different,
then did her inflammation come down then after like
oh,
switching that
hugely,
mindset?
hugely. So now,
Yeah.
and we're human, so these things come up again. So now she knows exactly. There it
Yeah.
is again. So she has the tools to navigate that. So, and then I had one who came to me with seemingly pretty straightforward, like physical wise. And it was really interesting. So after our initial meeting, and I sit down with the stuff that we've talked about, I sit with them in my awareness, and I ask, what can I do to help this person? So I call in their spiritual teams, my own. It's like this, and I receive information on this
Sure.
person based on their body and the stuff that we've talked about. And so I wasn't really, for this person, getting anything from the physical side. It was just really kind of, it wasn't anything too profound. So I was like, okay, well, that's just fine. So I went about my day, and I was in the shower after, planning her workouts and things for her. I went in the shower, and it, I received this message, and it said, tell this person I am very proud of what they're doing. And
Oh
I wish I would
wow.
have done the same thing when when I had the chance. It was her mom.
So you got a little of psychic ability then. You're not just like
So
spirituality, you have like a psychic component for it with working with your
that was
clients.
my very first experience like that. That was very, very different. And then it had the classic tale, like it just shivers throughout. I was just very, very, that was very, very surprising. And it was so, so special. And I will never forget it. And
Yeah.
so that for her, so in this person's journey, her blind spot was a relationship that um she didn't really feel like she had closure on before her
Sure.
mother passed. So then recently, a couple weeks ago, I still work virtually with this client as well, if we don't live close to each other. So we train virtually, which is a nice option. And then I received this knowing that I needed to reach out to this person again. And again, it was about motherhood. It was about
Sure.
motherhood and just making sure that she understood that it's never too late to have a connection with somebody. you
Yeah.
know, that this person is there, you know, and it's just, that was really, really special. And I hope that that was the closure that this, you know, that
Sure.
she needs
That's
to just move
beautiful.
on with her healing journey now. So yeah, that, and then just symptoms of the weight of the world on someone's back. Like literally, sometimes I receive themes about people, like, and it's just weight of the world. And then sure enough, there was a bunch of, you know, there was tension in the back.
Yeah.
But this, you know, caregivers, we see it all the time with caregivers who are giving, giving,
Oh
giving,
yeah.
giving, that they forget about themselves.
Yeah.
And when it is time, they lose sight of who they are. And that's one of my questions on the things that we talk about. When we talk about some, you know, some questions relating to personal training, but that's just still like outside of the gate. You
Right.
know, we go through all those conversations. They're more on the physical side, talk about goals and that kind of thing. But then I still feel like I'm outside of the gate. So I've created my own questions to get me inside of the
Sure.
gate,
So bring your
knowing
walls
more.
down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
more in tune with that person. And I ask people, tell me more about you without using your roles.
Yeah.
Tell me about you. What makes you unique? What are the things that come easy to you? And you know what? No one has an answer for me because somewhere along the way,
Interesting.
we've lost sight of this. We've lost sight of what makes us who we
Hmm.
are, right? So it's just finding that answer again. And they do. And they do. And it is really, really special.
Yeah.
So, all for unique reasons. We've had like success everywhere, and people's bodies are feeling better, and they haven't
Yes.
had to change too much.
Right.
You know, we don't, I'm not asking people to live at the gym 5 days a week. I just do, you know, plan really good workouts based on what their body's telling me and who they are, you know, and what they
Yeah.
love to do. So they enjoy their workouts. They're not living at the gym. They have time to do these other things that make them who they are.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, you know, making sure that you're spending time being playful with your grandkids, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. All of that is in their summary that I give them of recommendations
Um,
based on what I heard them say, always meeting them right where they're at. So
mm,
this isn't, you know, you're not signing up to a subscription or you're not signing
right.
up to a, you know, a personal trainer that may never know who you are or an
Mm,
idea. When people are wanting to work with me, I'm also agreeing to work with them too,
yeah.
because there is an exchange of energy here that, you know, that can feel a little bit heavy at times at the beginning. But then as we navigate through that and get people, you know, on their track, gain that traction again, it is just a beautiful, beautiful experience.
I love it. Sounds like it. I think you need to add to your bio. You got some psychic ability there because you're not just spiritual. You've got more like that psychic intuition. Maybe it is because
Yeah.
to get those downloads and to be able to have those moments where of someone you're getting a message. That's a way different ballgame because I've talked to several psychics, intuitives on the show, and that's a special gift. So I think maybe your journey has opened you up to more than what you actually realize.
And quite frankly, Deanna, there's no accident in why, you know, I'm talking to you today and your podcast is called what it is. Because even I'm human too, and I
Sure.
really struggled with self-worth, self-suppression,
Mm,
self-realization. So, and this theme kept coming up. I would talk to people, I would
yeah.
do interviews compared, you know, like similar to this, and they're like, and they kept saying like, you don't, you know, you say you're a personal trainer, but you like you know, and I
Yeah.
was having trouble fitting myself into these boxes, and to be honest, I didn't want to be even in
You
the
don't even need to
box.
be in one. No, we don't live in
Exactly.
boxes.
So yes, I am a personal trainer. It's what I'm educated in doing. It is a service that I
Yeah.
provide, but that isn't me. You
Yeah.
know,
You're
yes,
like
I'm a
a
spiritual life
psychic,
coach.
intuitive personal trainer. Like there's like something, it's very unique and different, something I've never
It's
had on the show before,
very
you
it's
know?
very unique, which is
Yeah.
why I, you know, I kind of integrated it all into intuitive momentum
Yeah.
coach so I could incorporate all of it, you know, through education, you know, through my
Sure.
experience with working with people, through my experience of being a person for so long and
Yeah.
understanding the unique challenges in multidimensionality. And then my soul's intent. What is my soul's purpose? What are my gifts,
Hmm.
which are evolving every day?
Yeah. For obviously, clearly.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
beautiful thing.
exactly. Exactly. So that's it's a kind of it's hard to really kind of narrow down what I do because and it's
And I
so
don't
different
think
for
that you should. I
everybody.
think if you start trying
I
to
don't think
narrow it
so either.
down, it's going to prevent you from tapping into these gifts that you've been given. Caren, this is the part of the show I like to ask for last, for where people can find you, connect with you, and support you.
So through my website, you can find lots of information there. So transformfitnesscoaching.com. Through social media on Facebook is Transform Fitness Coaching. Instagram, Caren Carnegie Fitness. And yeah, just, if there's any questions, just reach out. And I did create a new service as well as things are evolving for people who still even just don't feel like they're ready to start their fitness journey per se as far as exercise go,
Yeah,
but wanting more of a mentorship
sure.
kind of experience as well to get them started. So I offer that too, to offer a map for people on their journey. And moments like this are really, really important. And what you do. So people like me who, are in this sea of, personal trainers everywhere, spiritual
Yeah,
life coaches everywhere, to give a platform for
sure.
people like myself to share how they're different
Mm,
because that might get lost.
yeah.
And there's so many people out there that are going along their journey and that have their own gifts to share and wanting to help this world be a better place. That is people like you that give them that chance
Oh, thank you.
to
Yes.
talk about that. So that's really important.
That's why we're here. That's right. Thank you so much for that. You guys can put those links in the show notes. See if you connected with Caren and want to learn more about how she operates, or you just connected with her message. Go click the links, go visit her website, go follow her on social, and start a conversation and see where it leads you. You never know where it can go and how it might help you with your body, with your mind, with your spirit. Caren, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Don't wait for your conditions to change. Don't wait for your environment to change.
Yeah, beautiful. The time is now. Don't wait. I love it.
Don't wait. Don't
Here,
wait. You're the
Caren, thank
catalyst.
yes, thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your gifts, because it's way more than what your bio says. And I love that you highlighted some of those stories because it gives people an idea that you have a lot of gifts that you are able to tap into to help them reach their desired goal and get past those roadblocks that are preventing them from living a fully fulfilled life. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You guys, this